The president said the reason that you have been critical of him is not necessarily Epstein, but because he pushed you not to run for the Senate or for governor in Georgia. How and when did he do that?
Well, that is absolutely not true. Actually,
okay, so he's an outright liar, is what you're saying, Marge, right? So he's lying outright to not only news organizations, news outlets, but also the American people. So, let's just run this through the fucking old calculator computer here and just kind of see if what we can come out with. Let's see. So he's willing to lie. He's willing to lie about something petty and useless like this about me running for Senate in the governor's race. But I can't see it how he'd be willing to lie about his involvement in the Epstein files. It just does not make any sense here. Oh. And this is, just another episode, another situation here with Madge, where she's talking about President Trump just attacked me and lied about me. I haven't called him at all. But I did send these text messages today. Apparently, this is what sent him over the edge. The Epstein files. Of course, he's coming after me hard, trying to make an example to scare all other Republicans before next week's vote to release the Epstein files. Probably, and again, only flowers, in a very fucking minute situation, which is that specific sentence, has she gotten this spot on, right? Because that is absolutely what Donald Trump is doing here. This is a message. This is a clear threat being sent to not only Marjorie Taylor Greene, but anybody else, Thomas Massie, anybody else that is thinking about signing on to these, the release of the Epstein files. Anybody that even thinks about getting in front of a camera or a microphone and, making Donald Trump look bad or in any way making it seem like these files are going to come out, you're going to get the full fury. You are going to get the full wrath. No more endorsements. Doesn't care. It doesn't matter how close we once were. How many times you got my endorsement in the past? How many times we did fucking parkour? Or how many times you blew me in the back of the jet? Your endorsement will be fucking revoked. And she goes on here to say that it's astonishing. It's astonishing, really, how hard he's fighting to stop the Epstein files from coming out, that he actually goes to this level. Now, do you think there might be a reason? Why are you that astonished? And this is her, again, even as Donald Trump's attacking her, still trying to dip her fucking toe in the bullshit pool that is MAGA, right? Where she's like, I'm like astonished how hard he's fighting to keep these things a secret. I don't understand why. There's not a situation that I could comprehend in this whole thing in which you would lead me to believe there's a situation why you would keep these things secret. I don't know. But anyway, he's really fighting me. And then, she goes on to talk about really most Americans wish he would fight this, which he's not going to do. Here's Dana Bash with Marjorie Taylor Greene. Does she come on right away? Yeah, she comes on right away. So we'll just play a little bit of this.
It's the political breakup heard round the world.
Political breakup heard round the settle down, CNN, settle down.
President Trump severing ties with at least one of his closest allies, declaring, I am withdrawing my support and endorsement of Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, even calling for primary challenges against his one-time loyalists and attacking her as, quote, wacky, a ranting lunatic, a rhino, and a traitor. This is days before the House of Representatives is set to vote on releasing the Epstein files. It's a stunning breach between two MAGA leaders, one of whom is here with me now exclusively for her first interview since the president cut ties, Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia. Thank you so much for being here. As you just heard, and I know you saw, the president says he's withdrawing support for you, encouraging primary challengers. You were one of his biggest supporters. What do you think happened here?
Well, Dana, thank you for having me on. And that is true. I stood with President Trump when virtually no one else did. Campaigned all over the country, spent millions of my own dollars helping him get elected. And I think that's incredibly important. And I do support him and his administration. And I support...
As, again, they're actively engaged in this conspiracy and cover-up of the thing that you deem to be so very important. I don't understand how you could, again, wait. And she is doing exactly what I thought she was going to do. She's probably, again, going to be willing to call him out at some point while also trying to, again, keep herself just having that slightest bit of chance of remaining in that MAGA base, right? Again, why would you still defend and support an administration that is actively fighting you on what is, again, to you and what you say so overwhelmingly obvious to the American people what should be done here? But you're actively getting stonewalled by nobody greater than this administration, but yet you still support that administration. It just, again, It's ridiculous to me that these people just are so cowed, right? They're so fucking bent to this cult that they, even when they do manage to start seeing a glimmer of light, they just cannot pull themselves towards it quick enough to get themselves out of the hole. They just love taking that last look back, right? That last look back and be like, oh, do I really want to leave? It's like, get the fuck out, Jesus Christ.
Them and delivering the campaign promises we made to the American people. His remarks, of course, have been hurtful. However, I have something in my heart that I think is incredibly important for our country, and that is to...
It's fucking important. It's important. It's not important. There's no D in that one. There ain't no D in that one, ma'am. It's important. God damn it.
End the toxic fighting in politics. And this has been going on for years, and it has divided our country, split up friends and families, neighbors, and it's not solving our problems.
No, and actively, you could throw the MAGA base into that little list you had there, because that's what it's doing now. It's completely tearing up the MAGA base. And again, this is just, maybe one of the bigger aspects to it. But again, the anti-Israel, pro-Israel aspect and the whole Charlie Kirk murder conspiracy theory bullshit that's still active and ongoing is another aspect in this. And again, all roads point back to one of those three situations involved in now this, again, ongoing MAGA civil war.
The most hurtful thing he said, which is absolutely untrue, is he called me a traitor. And that is so extremely wrong. And those are the types of words used that can radicalize people against me and put my life in danger.
All right. So now she's taking it as a direct threat here from Donald Trump, apparently. So again, when you're talking about, like, how deep does this fight go? Like, how deep, like, how far is Donald Trump willing to go in calling out people that, again, did everything they possibly could to support him and get him elected, even though the only thing that they disagree on, or the only thing that they can't come to terms on, is the Epstein files, right? Like, that's like, again, it's like, I'm kind of curious, and this is kind of people getting their answer here, where, it's almost like, Marjorie Taylor Greene's taking this as an active and ongoing threat from the president of the United States, because, again, she's out there defending the victims of child sex trafficking and abuse and, again, manipulation and, just egregious acts, egregious crimes committed against these girls.
What do you think happened? What do you think is the reason?
Yeah, what do you think happened? What do you think's the reason? Fucking Dana, like, these fucking people crack me up. Like, just ask the question. We're all like, do you believe he has direct involvement, and that's the reason he's now covering this up and calling you out? What else could there possibly be? Stop beating around the fucking bush. You guys both look like morons. Like, geez, what is it? What could possibly be the reason as to Donald Trump being, like, so mad at you about calling this shit out? It's crazy. I'll ask you, because I don't know myself. I can't come up with a fucking theory. Like, Jesus.
Unfortunately, it has all come down to the Epstein files. And that.
Okay, and what's the next logical step, Marge? Fucking travel with me here. Step in my footsteps. It's a little easier in deep snow, I know. But just come on. You can do it. What's that next logical step there? It's the Epstein files. So then what would be the next thought there? What would be? Maybe his involvement in the Epstein files.
It is shocking. And, I stand with these women. I stand with rape victims. I stand with...
Well, see, that's the problem, Maj, because, again, you can't stand with the rape victims and also stand with this administration who is actively protecting the men and women possibly engaged in raping those women. See how that works, right? You can't like be the cops and support the criminals at the same time. That's not how that works. You can't be the judge buying drugs from the people you're trying to actively lock up. Like, that might be a conflict of interest. Like, you can't, again, actively support an administration that's letting the worst of the worst criminals off, is not releasing the information, the evidence to put people behind bars, while also saying that you support the victims in those crimes that this administration is protecting. See how that doesn't really line up? Don't make no sense? That just don't make no sense.
Children who are in terrible sex abuse situations, and I stand with survivors of trafficking and those.
I mean, like Katie Johnson. Would Katie Johnson be one of those girls, involved in one of those horrendous and horrific sexual scenes that you're talking about? Possibly
trapped in sex trafficking. And I will not apologize for that. I believe the country deserves transparency in these files, and I don't believe that rich, powerful people should be protected if they have done anything wrong. And so I'm standing with the women, and I will continue to do my small part to get the files released.
You said on X yesterday, quote, "It's astonishing really how hard he's fighting to stop the Epstein files from coming out." And
I know, it's almost like the next line would be like, hey, it's almost as if he has some serious guilt to hide. Like, it's almost as if, right? Like, wouldn't that be the next logical thought in your head? Like, it's astonishing that this person would be so actively engaged in trying to, thwart me on what I'm doing and my position on this. It's almost as if they were involved in this shit too. Like, I don't, sometimes it seems so simple, and I understand like they're in, totally different situations. But Jesus Christ, do you look stupid not calling out what everybody sees in front of your goddamn face, right? Like, it's just crazy to me.
it really makes you wonder what is in those files. Are you suggesting there's something?
No, really makes you wonder what Donald Trump's involvement is in those files. Nothing else. Nothing else. There is nothing else. There are the president's actions and the instructions that he has given his little fucking minions that have the ability and are surrounded by these files actively points to a cover-up, which actively leads people to, to think and would suggest that he has active involvement. He had active engagement in the criminalities, whether or not be sexually, financially, or fucking in some other regards, right? Just let's be logical in this shit.
The Epstein files that President Trump does not want Americans to see?
Well, I think that's the part that has so many people confused, is that the women themselves that I have talked to have over and over again said that Donald Trump did nothing wrong. Quite a few of them even told me they voted for him. And those are the women I would like to see in the Oval Office with support.
Wait. So now it's the women. Now it's only the women that say that Donald Trump, they didn't see anything and they didn't see Donald Trump engaged in any criminalities, and the people that voted for Donald Trump that should be allowed into the Oval Office now? Is that what she was just trying to say? Because before I thought it was like, all of the victims deserve the opportunity to, have a chance to speak with the president and air their case and have it be heard, right? Sounds to me like now she's just saying it's the ones that voted for Donald Trump, the ones that are willing to go on the record to say that they at least never saw with their own eyes Donald Trump engage in any criminal acts, right? Which, again, does not prove that Donald Trump had no involvement in this case. All it proves is that these women, or whoever you're talking about here, these victims themselves with their own eyes didn't see it, right? Or again, we don't know what else took place behind the scenes. We don't know how. This is another part of this story, too, that I don't think people are really bringing up because, Fox was so quick to be like, well, it was Virginia Giuffre who said, in the past that she, same thing basically here, that she never saw Donald Trump engaged in any criminalities and, he was nice, yada, yada. But what threats were posed to these women behind the scenes or posed to these girls behind the scenes, depending on what, time or year they were posed to these people? Like, what's to say that, Virginia wasn't so scared, right, by threats made by Donald Trump and promises made by Donald Trump and these high profile people that she was threatened and said, if you were ever questioned, if you didn't say this about Donald Trump, bad things would happen to you, right? What's to say? I don't know. I know it's clear speculation. We have no evidence to suggest or prove any of this. But would you put any of that past the people and the players involved in this situation? The people with fucking audio and video recordings and people going to fly to private islands to hide their criminalities, to hide their fucking sexual, deviances. Like, I don't understand. Like, is that something that would be like out of the realm of possibility that these women were threatened? Or in somehow, I don't know, maybe even bribed or paid or, in some other way made to be forced to be silent or something like that. You know what I mean? Which would totally change the whole narrative around that one email. Right? If we do find out in the future, per the Epstein files, that Donald Trump had, directly contacted people like Virginia Giuffre to say, hey, listen, I know where you live. I know where you stay. I know your parents. We know a lot about you. So guess what? If anybody has, ever asks you any tough questions and you say the wrong thing, guess what? It's a nice fucking home you got there, but it'd be a shame if something happened to it type of thing, right? Like the transportation secretary said, or, like a number of people in Donald Trump's administration in orbit have said in this administration alone. So again, I'm not putting it past anything. And that, again, like I was saying, would completely change the narrative that Fox News, Newsmax, OAN, RSBN are trying to get across, where it's like, the Democrats only blocked that out because it was Virginia Giuffre, but Virginia Giuffre said this. But if we find out she only said that under, the threat of retaliation, then guess what? There's a whole new fucking chapter to open. There's a whole new book to write about what's going on in these emails, because they then have no more out as to why. And again, very well could have just been the Democrats doing their due diligence and just blocking out any and all victims' names, to keep their identity safe in this instance, right? While Fox News and the Republicans are trying to make it seem like it was under nefarious means. But again, that would change the whole line of fucking reasoning, the whole line of rhetoric coming from the Republicans. If we were to find out there was some, fishy business going on with some fucking shady characters going around to these underage girls and the women, making threats, or again, actively bribing them in some fashion to stay quiet. You know what I mean? All right, so let's dive into just a couple minutes more of this, and then we'll head on to, again, more of this ongoing MAGA battle that has enveloped this base right now. And we'll be looking at, again, some of the videos that we showed earlier. But let's dive into a couple more minutes of this, and we'll head on. I appreciate it. Hit that like button, guys. I'm Boston Brian. This is Blunt Politics, the political podcast made to sift through the bullshit, the lies, the propaganda of the mainstream media and people just like this, so we can sift through it and get down to the fucking nitty gritty of brass taxes, so we can give it, break it down for normal, everyday working class individuals like you, like me, like the people that these policies and decisions affect on a day-to-day basis. So let's dive into it. Thank you for your opportunity. Thank you for the opportunity to entertain and educate and, kill some time in the day, if that's what I do. So I appreciate you guys. Hit that like button.
Would like to see all of the women there with support. I have no idea what's in the files. I can't even guess, but that is the questions everyone.
You can't guess. There's just nothing in your brain that would lead you, any clues that you've seen from people acting mysteriously or in a way that you never thought that they would act. Like, there's nothing from anybody that you could point to right now that would be like, I think this is more lending, to the chance that there is something absolutely fishy, absolutely incriminating with this person, at least, because that's not how I know him. That's not what the person that I love. He's acting totally differently. Well, why do you think that is, Maj? Why do you think that is?
Asking is, why fight this so hard?
Well, before this blow up,
because he's guilty, because he's in it. In one way or a fucking another, this man is involved in this, and that's why, Maj. Not that difficult.
You sort of alluded to this just now. You said you were confident the president wouldn't be implicated. Are you still confident of that?
I'm listening to the women. Those are the ones that are saying.
Ooh, I'm sorry, but I couldn't help the lack of the yes word being mentioned in that answer. Can we do that one more time? Just one more time, ladies and gentlemen. I would love, let me put that back on, because I'm going to want to hear that one more time.
The president.
So basically, Dana Bash just directly asking Marjorie Taylor Greene, do you still believe that Donald Trump has no involvement? And again, I couldn't help but, miss with the headphones in the lack of her saying yes. Her going right into, well, I'm just listening to the women again. Sounds like, again, a bullshit fucking politician, obfuscating type of answer, if you ask me. Well, but again, here we go.
Before this blow up, you sort of alluded to this just now. You said you were confident the president wouldn't be implicated. Are you still confident of that?
I'm listening to the women. Those are the ones that are saying that he did nothing wrong. Virginia.
Okay. How about the question that you were asked, though? Again, how about the question you were just asked? Can you answer that question? Because it seems like you're going on to answer another question in the way politicians do. Obviously, they try to get around these things, and they know they only have so much time on, so they can talk and run around for enough time. Then again, there won't be enough time left to answer the actual question. But again, it's supposed to be people like Dana Bash keeping them on track and making them and forcing them to answer the questions that was asked. But they suck at this job, which is why we do what we do here. But again, Marjorie Taylor Greene just can't nail it down. She's so close, but can't nail it down.
Said under oath that Donald Trump did nothing wrong, and she wrote it in her book. So I'm continuing to listening to the women, and I think their voices should be the last.
So you talk to every single victim, Or again, are you just going by the, the small majority, the small number, the small percentage of victims that you've talked to that again have been either able or willing to say they haven't seen Donald Trump engaged in criminality? Like, are you, is that supposed to, they're speaking for the entire crew, or have you sat down with each individual victim to get their story and everything that they saw? Because I highly doubt you've gone that far. So it seems like to me that they're using the words of a few in the cases of a few, and what they didn't see to kind of, support the overwhelming, the overarching narrative that Fox News and, again, Marjorie Taylor Greene here want to get out, which is like, something egregious has been done, but clearly President Trump's not involved in it, ladies and gentlemen. He's just the one actively telling people not to show the files and threatening people in his own party and, kicking me out of it. But, well, now that kind of makes me nope, he probably isn't in it. Like, what the fuck?
Honest.
The president said the reason that you have been critical of him is not necessarily Epstein, but because he pushed you not to run for the Senate or for governor in Georgia. How and when did he do that?
Well, that is absolutely not true. Actually,
okay, so he's an outright liar, is what you're saying, Marge, right? So he's lying outright to not only news organizations, news outlets, but also the American people. So, let's just run this through the fucking old calculator computer here and just kind of see if what we can come out with. Let's see. So he's willing to lie. He's willing to lie about something petty and useless like this about me running for Senate in the governor's race. But I can't see it how he'd be willing to lie about his involvement in the Epstein files. It just doesn't not make any sense here. Oh, like fucking holy shit. Like so if he's outright lying about that, wouldn't you be like, wow, man, maybe he's lying about this other shit too? Maybe there's like a whole host of shit, like almost like 33,000 of them from his first term that he lied about. Maybe that shit was all right. I don't know. Like, wouldn't that be, I don't know, just logical way of thinking?